Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind and wise prophet named Elisha. Elisha was known for his miracles and the help he provided to those in need. People often came to him with their troubles, hoping for his divine assistance. In the same village, there was a poor widow who was in great distress. Her husband had died, leaving her with 2 sons and a mountain of debt. The creditors were threatening to take her sons as slaves to repay the debt. In her desperation, the widow decided to seek Elisha's help. She approached Elisha with tears in her eyes and poured out her heart, telling him about her dire situation. Elisha listened attentively and then asked her a simple question. "What do you have in your house?" The widow replied, "I have nothing at all, except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha thought for a moment and then gave her an unusual instruction. "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Collect as many as you can. Then, go inside your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." Though puzzled, the widow trusted Elisha's words and did exactly as he instructed. She and her sons went from house to house, gathering as many empty jars as they could find. Once they had collected a large number of jars, they went inside their house and shut the door. The widow took her small jar of olive oil and began to pour it into one of the empty jars. To her amazement, the oil kept flowing and filled the first jar. She moved to the next jar, and the oil continued to flow, filling it too. This miraculous process continued until every single jar they had collected was filled to the brim. When all the jars were full, the oil finally stopped flowing. The widow and her sons were overjoyed and could hardly believe their eyes. She then went back to Elisha and told him what had happened. Elisha smiled and said, "Now, go and sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." The widow did as Elisha instructed. She sold the oil, paid off her debts, and had enough money left over to provide for her family. Thanks to Elisha's wisdom and God's miraculous provision, the widow and her sons were saved from a life of slavery and poverty. From that day on, the widow and her sons lived happily, always remembering the kindness of Elisha and the miraculous jar of oil. They were grateful for the lesson they had learned, that even in the darkest of times, faith and obedience can lead to incredible blessings. And so, the story of Elisha and the widow reminds us that no matter how desperate our situation may seem, there is always hope and help if we have faith and are willing to trust in God's plan.